Ever wondered why the ancient Egyptians didn't invent the skyscraper? Well, they got stuck at the pyramid stage. Now, you've got to hand it to the ancient Egyptians. They knew a thing or two about construction. Their crowning achievement? The pyramids, of course. These ancient wonders are feats of human ingenuity and physical endurance, each a testament to the might of the pharaohs who commissioned them. Believe it or not, there are over 100 pyramids in Egypt, each one a grand monument to a departed pharaoh. The largest of the lot is the Great Pyramid of Giza, standing at a whopping 481 feet. That's nearly half as tall as the Empire State Building. And let's not forget, this was built over 4,000 years ago, without the help of cranes, bulldozers, or any modern machinery. To put things in perspective, imagine trying to build a 40-story building using just raw manpower and simple tools. Sounds like an impossible task, doesn't it? Now consider that the Great Pyramid was constructed using over 2 million blocks of stone, each weighing an average of 2 tons. That's like lifting 4,000 pounds, or roughly the weight of 2 small cars, over and over again. And here's the kicker. These blocks weren't just stacked haphazardly. No, they were meticulously arranged and aligned with the stars. Talk about attention to detail. In comparison, our modern construction projects seem almost child's play. Sure, we've built taller, more complex structures, but we've got the advantage of advanced technology and machinery. The ancient Egyptians? They did it all with sheer grit, determination, and a whole lot of manpower. So the next time you complain about your IKEA flat-pack furniture, just think of the poor Egyptian guy lugging around 2-ton blocks in the desert heat. You think your boss is tough? Try working for a pharaoh. Bad hair day? Off with your head. Now let's talk about the bigwigs, the head honchos of ancient Egypt, the pharaohs. These guys were not just political leaders. They were considered to be gods on earth, the intermediaries between the gods and the people. Talk about pressure. The pharaohs were the ultimate authority, and they had the power to make some pretty outlandish decisions. For instance, Pharaoh Pepi II, who ruled for a staggering 94 years, was said to have despised flies so much that he kept slaves smeared in honey nearby to keep the bugs off him. Now that's what you call a sticky situation. And let's not forget about Pharaoh Khufu, the man behind the Great Pyramid of Giza. Legend has it that he was so obsessed with his pyramid project that he'd rather let his people starve than divert resources away from it. Talk about a pyramid scheme. But it wasn't all doom and gloom. Some pharaohs had a softer side. Take Hatshepsut, for example. She was one of the few female pharaohs and was known for her peaceful reign and focus on infrastructure and trade. She even had a penchant for exotic trees, although she did insist on being depicted as a male in statues and carvings, complete with a false beard. Hey, whatever floats your boat, right? Pharaohs could also be a little, well, eccentric. Akhenaten, for example, decided one day to abandon all the traditional Egyptian gods and worship only the sun disk, Aten. He even built a whole new city for his favorite deity. Talk about being a sun worshipper. So you see, the life of a pharaoh was anything but mundane. It was filled with power, duty, oddities, and yes, a fair amount of drama. But hey, when you're a god on earth, you can pretty much get away with anything, right? And you thought your office politics were rough? Try navigating the royal court of a pharaoh. Who needs Botox when you've got mummification? Let's dive into the world of ancient Egyptian mummification, where the quest for eternal life took a turn for the weirdly fascinating. You see, the Egyptians believed that preserving the body was crucial for the soul's journey to the afterlife. This led to the development of a process so complex, it would give your skincare routine a run for its money. The mummification process began with the removal of the organs. Yes, you heard that right. The brain was pulled out through the nose using long hooks. Not exactly a spa day, is it? The heart, however, was left inside because they believed it was the center of intelligence and emotion. Next, the body was dried out using natron, a naturally occurring salt mixture. This process took a whopping 70 days, during which time the skin would shrivel up like a raisin in the sun. And you thought waiting for your face mask to dry was a drag. Once the body was all dried up, it was time for a makeover. The body was stuffed with linen or sand to give it a more lifelike shape. Then it was wrapped in bandages, often containing magical spells for protection. Talk about a fashion statement. But the Egyptians didn't stop there. No, they made sure their mummies were ready for the afterlife in style. They were buried with a treasure trove of goods. Everything from food and wine to gold and jewels, even board games. Who knew the afterlife was such a party? Now I know what you're thinking. This all sounds a bit extreme, right? But to the ancient Egyptians, this was a fundamental part of their religious beliefs and culture, a sacred ritual that ensured a second life in the realm of the gods. So next time you're feeling a bit old and wrinkly, just remember, at least you're not a mummy. Think you know everything about pyramids? Well, buckle up, because we're about to drop some pyramid-sized knowledge bombs. Let's start with an appetizer. Did you know that the Great Pyramid of Giza, the largest pyramid in Egypt, is composed of over 2.5 million blocks of limestone? That's enough to build a wall around France. And we're not talking about a knee-high picket fence here, but a full-blown 3 feet high and 1 foot thick wall. Now that's what I call a monument. And speaking of size, ever wondered how the ancient Egyptians managed to create these colossal structures without modern machinery? Well, they used a little something called ingenuity. It's believed that they built ramps from the desert sand and hauled the blocks up using ropes, manpower, and possibly sleds. Talk about a workout. Now let's get a bit mathematical. The Egyptians were pretty handy with the old numbers. The Great Pyramid is aligned with the cardinal points of the compass, north, south, east, and west, with an accuracy of 0.05 degrees. That's more accurate than the Meridian building in London. So, next time you're lost in the desert, just remember, the pyramids always point the way. Now for a sweet dessert fact. Contrary to what you might think, not all pyramids were tombs. Some, like the Step Pyramid of Djoser, were built as monuments to the pharaoh's ego. It's like the ancient version of a vanity license plate, but a tad more conspicuous. Finally, here's a little nugget for the next time you play trivia. The Great Pyramid was the tallest man-made structure in the world for over 3,800 years. That's longer than the time between us and Julius Caesar. It wasn't until the completion of the Lincoln Cathedral in the 14th century that the Great Pyramid lost its title. So there you have it, folks. Pyramids. Not just a great shape for a Toblerone. So what have we learned today? Other than the fact that the ancient Egyptians had a serious obsession with triangles. Well, we've discovered that pyramids weren't just an architectural whim, but a grand scheme of the ancients. They were vast, meticulously planned structures, built to house pharaohs and their treasures in the afterlife. And let's not forget, these are not just any old triangles. They are perfect, geometrically precise structures that have stood the test of time, weather, and even the occasional tomb raider. Then we delved into the world of pharaoh follies, where we found that being a pharaoh wasn't all about lounging around on a chaise, being fed grapes. It was a job filled with responsibility, divinity, and a lot of expectation. They were the political, religious, and military leaders, all rolled into one. And they had to look good doing it all, with their iconic headdresses and ornate jewelry. Talk about pressure. And who could forget our journey into the world of mummies? We learned that mummification was not just a creepy Halloween gimmick, but a complex and sacred procedure. The Egyptians believed in life after death, and mummification was their way of preserving the body for the soul's journey to the afterlife. The process, although a bit grim by today's standards, was a testament to their advanced understanding of the human body and their deep spiritual beliefs. In our pyramid trivia segment, we discovered fascinating facts and debunked some myths. For instance, it's not aliens but thousands of dedicated workers who built these colossal structures. And no, they're not hollow inside, but a labyrinth of chambers and corridors, each serving a unique purpose. So remember, next time you're building a pyramid, ruling a kingdom, or mummifying your cat, it's all been done before, and probably better by the ancient Egyptians.